Hello, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about something that's been bothering me as a guitar player for a number of years, and I think I finally figured out what to do about it. So I like to call it the guitar player's phantom fingertip splinter. It feels like there's a splinter in the tip of one of your fingers on the fret hand. It's not really from a splinter, but you think it is. So here's what I've been doing about it. First, what is it? It's a sharp focal pain at the tip of a single fretting finger of usually your left hand if you're right-handed. It's just right at the tip. It is not a sore or blistered fingertip pain. It's not a generalized pain at the tip, but you feel like there is a tiny little piece of metal embedded in your finger. There isn't, but that's what it feels like. You think maybe it came from the string or something. Most players end up searching their fingertip with a magnifying glass and see if they can find something, but there's nothing there. There's no visible abnormality. So what is it really caused by? Well, it's actually a nerve irritation caused by a pinching of the nerve between the callus and the fingernail. It's very similar to a low back disc herniation causing sciatica. So if you look at the diagram here, from the low back, if there's a disc herniation pushing on this nerve root here, and that causes an irritation of the nerve root, so that a person might complain of sciatica in their calf, they might say, hey, I feel like there is an ice pick sticking into my calf. But really, there's nothing wrong with their calf. The irritation from the nerve is up higher in their lumbar spine. So I think that's what's going on with the tip of your finger when you're playing guitar. So if you look at this diagram here of the finger, see this nerve coming along the bottom of the fingertip, and then it branches out and goes right to the tip of the finger. So I think what happens when you play guitar sometimes is you build a callus up here, and the callus, when you're pressing on the strings, pushes up against the nail, and it ends up pinching this little branch of the nerve between the callus and the nail, and that little portion of the nerve becomes irritated, and then basically you get a little bit of sciatica right at the tip of your finger. So the pain sensation you're feeling is actually just a little nerve pain, or a little referred sciatica type pain at the tip of your finger. Risk factors. Well, being older, over age 40, if you have a prominent callus on your finger, or you have intense playing after a period of relative inactivity, if you have high action with tight strings that traumatizes your finger a little bit more, or electric guitar with string bends or vibrato, or a bass guitar player with large, big strings that end up digging into and injuring the finger a little more. And I think it could happen in any stringed instrument like a bass or a cello or a violin. So what is the immediate treatment? Well, first thing you need to do is reduce the pain and minimize any further nerve irritation. So first, immediately stop playing the instrument. Then take Advil or Aleve for pain relief. Ice the affected fingertip immediately. Put a little ice cube in a glass with a little bit of water, and just keep it in that ice water for maybe 5 minutes. Trim the white part of the affected fingernail as short as possible to reduce pinching. And then do not pick at the painful spot. Do not try to dig it out with anything. There's no splinter there. It just feels like it, but there isn't. Don't try to file down the callus or injure the fingertip in any way. So intermediate treatment, well, maybe from an hour to a couple of days. Reduce nerve inflammation and prevent re-injury. That's your goal. So use a topical steroid cream like a cortisone, just a little over-the-counter cortisone, and put it on your fingertip and nail bed, and really work it down along the where the fingernail joins the fingertip, and get that steroid in there. Then also follow a strict anti-inflammatory schedule of oral medication, either Advil, it's also called ibuprofen, or Aleve, not both, but either Advil or Aleve. So Advil like this, and just follow the instructions on the back for dosing, but you don't want to just take it when it hurts. It's not like a pain kind of thing. Take it regularly so that you can get an anti-inflammatory effect to reduce the irritation in that nerve. Follow the instructions on the back of the bottle. Then use ice 10 times per day. Take a little cup at work and at your workstation, put a couple ice cubes in there, a little bit of water, and just dip the tip of your finger in there 10 times per day. And you'll know when it's been in there long enough because the pain will stop. You can massage the tip of your finger on the ice cube and just leave it in the water, maybe 5 minutes at a time. And then use a fingertip splint to prevent injury and to immobilize it. I got one here from Walgreens. And it just has to be a little short one, doesn't have to cover the whole finger, and you don't need any tape or anything. Just slide it on the fingertip, to just protect the tip. Be sure it's not on there too tight. You don't want it to press on the tip of the finger. So pull it back a little bit, leave a little space, and just wear that around during the day so you don't irritate your fingertip. And then avoid injuring it. So avoid pressing on areas, particularly when you're buttoning your shirt or if you're keyboarding or driving. Don't keep injuring the tip of your finger. Let it rest. For recovery. So in the past, for me, it would take about 3 to 10 days for the pain to stop. But using this method, I've had a complete recovery in 24 hours till there was no pain. Rehabilitation. All right, so once the pain is gone, you can slowly start to play the guitar again, but with modifications. Number 1, trim your fingernail. Keep the affected fingernail super short. Change to light strings, like the top E should be a 10, nothing bigger or thicker like an 11 or a 12. Loosen the strings by tuning down half a step, like Jimi Hendrix, or a whole step down, so the strings are looser and easier on your finger. Start playing for only 5 minutes at a time and then gradually increase. And then try to minimize string bends and vibrato at first. And then make sure that your action on the guitar is set as low as possible, because that will be a little easier on your fingertips. And maybe consider getting a different guitar with a lighter action if this keeps happening to you. And then also consider using fingertip protectors, like some the kind I found called Gorilla Tips from musicianfriend.com. They're little like rubber covers that go, thimbles, like they go on the tip of your fingers. And then if it hurts while you're playing, stop immediately and start back at the immediate treatment phase with ice. And then comments. Now, this is a fairly common problem I've heard about with particularly, experienced guitar players or bass players over the age of 40. And people know about it as a problem, but no one seems to know an effective treatment. So try this. It has really worked for me, and hopefully it'll work for you. And if you could leave some comments below and detail your experiences so everyone can learn and see if this is an effective approach. And thank you very much.